Just as the imposter heiress was about to be hit by a truck, my brother rushed forward to save her. In my past life, I used all my strength to hold him back from rescuing that fake heiress. The truck crushed her legs. She could never dance again. Broken, she took her own life. After burying her, I became the family's ultimate villain for stopping my brother from rescuing that imposter heiress. My brother broke my leg, screaming, "You heartless monster, how dare you stop me from saving Bella?" Mother and father slapped me dozens of times, hissing, "We never should have acknowledged you. Bella's our only daughter, you venomous snake, get out." They left my broken leg untreated and abandoned me in the wilderness to die. In the end, I met a gruesome death, torn apart by wild dogs. When I opened my eyes again, I'd returned to the moment my brother rushed to save that fake heiress. This time, I didn't exhaust myself trying to pull him back. Instead, I just lightly grabbed his sleeve and feigned heartbreak as I cried out, "Brother, don't go." I tried to stop him, but my brother clearly wasn't listening to me. Without hesitation, he rushed forward and pulled the fake heiress Bella back. Carried by momentum, he crashed onto the ground, instinctively bracing himself with both arms. He'd forgotten there was a 10-ton truck ahead. The blind spot made the pedestrian completely invisible. The truck mercilessly rolled over him. Amidst my brother's piercing screams, shattered bone fragments and gore splattered across the ground. His arms were reduced to two pulpy masses of mangled flesh. Bella froze in shock. Her father broke down in tears, while her mother collapsed unconscious, and deep inside, I smiled quietly to myself. In our past life, my brother rushed forward trying to save Bella. I knew the destructive force of trucks, at best causing limb loss, at worst instant death. I couldn't let my brother risk his life or future for that fake heiress, so I held on to him with all my strength, unable to break free from my grip. My brother could only watch helplessly as the truck crushed both of Bella's legs. His eyes bulged with rage, his heart torn with grief. Hearing Bella's agonized wail, he kicked me square in the chest, sending me flying meters away. Bella's parents arrived just in time to witness the scene and rushed her to the hospital. I was left discarded by the roadside, utterly forgotten. A kind stranger gave me a ride, arrived at the hospital, heard the news about Bella losing both legs. My brother beat me up again. That's when I regretted stopping my brother from saving Bella. But time can't be turned back. Later, the video of me preventing my brother's rescue attempt went viral online. I was met with a storm of online condemnation. I was cyberbullied, doxxed, and had rotten eggs thrown at me in real life. At school, I was completely isolated, ostracized, and bullied by all my classmates. During this time, Bella woke up to find both her legs amputated, unable to dance anymore with her dream of becoming a prima ballerina shattered. She couldn't bear the pain and ultimately took her own life. That night, my brother broke down sobbing, gripping a baseball bat and demanding I pay with my blood. He swung again and again, personally shattering my leg while screaming at me, "You worthless bitch. How dare you stop me from saving Bella? If it weren't for you, she wouldn't have been crippled and driven to suicide." Sobbing uncontrollably, I tried explaining myself to my brother. "I stopped you from saving Bella because I couldn't bear to see you trade your life for hers. That truck weighed over 10 tons. There was no way it could have stopped in time. If you'd died and I hadn't prevented it, I'd have lived with that regret forever. Why can't you understand how I feel, too?" My brother's eyes turned bloodshot as he roared at me, "You'd regret it, don't you think I would too? I can't just stand by and watch Bella get hit. That's inhuman. Besides, Bella's the little sister I've cherished since childhood. You heartless bastard who's never known family love could never understand our bond. Bella's mother switched me at birth and abandoned me at an orphanage. When I returned, my parents either ignored me completely or scorned me for being uncultured and petty. They clearly preferred their elegant, well-mannered fake heiress Bella, terrified and helpless. I'd always keep my distance, afraid of being an eyesore to them. Of course I couldn't feel their familial love, nor could I ever truly belong in this home. My heart ached as if pierced by needles, the pain cutting deep, but my legs hurt worse. My brother didn't stop until he'd mercilessly broken both my legs. He left. I begged my parents through tears to take me to the hospital. Instead, they slapped me dozens of times and stomped on my injured leg, grinding their feet mercilessly. As I screamed in agony, my parents looked at me with utter disgust and said, "Who gave you the right to meddle in our family affairs?" if you hadn't stopped Tyler from saving Bella, our family wouldn't have fallen apart. All this talk about considering your brother. I see right through you. You're just jealous Bella took your place and wanted her gone. If we'd known this would happen, we never should have taken you in from that orphanage. Bella is our only daughter, you vicious little viper. You deserve to rot in the grave with her. Bella's father and mother abandoned me in the depths of the mountain forest, leaving me to fend for myself. Wild dogs tore into my flesh, and I died in excruciating pain. Their words still echo in my mind. Those words carved bitterness deep into my heart. Given a second chance, I've learned my lesson. No longer the heartless monster they made me out to be. Honor the bond between my brother and our parents. Let my brother trade both his arms for Bella's legs. I'd like to see how my brother manages without arms, when he can't carry a load or lift a finger, not even handle basic daily needs. How deep could their bond with Bella really be? The truck driver got out to check the situation. I rushed over, putting on an act of extreme grief, wailing to my brother, "Hang in there, bro. I've already called an ambulance. Help is on the way." Gone was his usual composure. My brother's handsome face contorted in agony. Hearing my scream, Bella snapped out of her daze and rushed to check his injuries. I shoved her away hysterically, sobbing through tears. "Bella, I know my return has been an eyesore for you. You resent me stealing your spotlight. Hit me, curse at me. I'll endure anything for your happiness, even leaving if I must. But how could you? How could you storm off in a tantrum, run into traffic, and get our brother hurt? If anything happens to our brother, what will become of our family? He's Mom and Dad's only son." Bella tried to defend herself but couldn't find the words. I shoved her, sending her stumbling to the ground. In an instant, the gravel scraped her pale thigh, drawing blood. As a dancer, her family cherished her legs above all else. On any normal day, if I'd dared treat Bella like this, her parents would have slapped me across the face in an instant, but with their beloved son injured now, Bella was the last thing on their minds. The moment Bella's father woke her mother, they both rushed to their son's side weeping uncontrollably. "Hold on, my child, the doctor is coming soon," Bella's mother wailed heartrendingly, wishing she could bear the pain for her brother. Bella's father frowned, silent tears streaming down his face. Seeing this scene, Bella shook her head desperately. "I didn't mean to hurt him, it was an accident." She stood up and approached Bella's father and mother, seeking comfort and validation. Without a word, Bella's father pushed her to the ground. Bella's mother didn't even glance her way, her attention entirely focused on the brother. Shortly after, medical staff arrived and carried the brother away. In an instant, the tendons connecting both arms to the bones tore away, stripping away the last vestige of dignity. Witnessing the loss of his own arms with his own eyes, the elder brother couldn't bear it any longer. He let out a blood-curdling scream before collapsing unconscious. The entire family boarded the ambulance in tears. Only the bewildered Bella was left behind. She was still wondering why Bella's father had pushed her. I froze in shock. How could her parents' feelings toward her change in just those few minutes? Indeed, she didn't snap out of it until the car door was about to close. "Mom, Dad, wait for Bella." Bella desperately chased after the car, limping when she twisted her ankle in pursuit. Her sobs faded into the wind. As the car door slammed shut mercilessly, Bella collapsed to the ground in panic. Bella's parents remained indifferent, deliberately averting their gaze from her. In that moment, I could clearly see resentment burning in their eyes. My brother was rushed into emergency care. The doctors said they couldn't save his arms. Upon hearing the news, Bella's mother fainted again. By the time Bella treated her leg and rushed over, the surgery had already been completed. Her brother remained unconscious, his empty sleeves lying flat on the bed like sheets of paper. A deathly silence filled the ward, broken only by the sound of Bella's mother sobbing. Spotting Bella at the doorway from the corner of my eye, I smirked and walked over to my parents. "Mom, Dad, you should at least eat something to keep your strength up." Feigning concern with a sorrowful expression, I handed them the food I'd bought. They both looked me straight in the eye. After 18 years, they finally realized there was still a biological daughter to rely on in critical moments. But right now, they're in no mood to eat. With their only son, the heir to the Tyler family business, losing both arms, the future looks bleak and full of worries. With tears in her eyes, Bella's mother declined, saying, "I've lost my appetite. You go ahead and eat." Bella's father frowned deeply and shook his head, standing by the door. Bella finally couldn't hold back and timidly called out, "Dad, Mom." After seeing me talk with her parents, both Bella's father and mother acted as if they hadn't heard her, merely glancing her way before turning back to their private grief. The deliberate cold shoulder created an awkward tension. Bella stood frozen. Torn between staying and leaving, she could clearly sense her parents' resentment toward her. She'd caused her brother to lose his arms. It was her fault, yet never her intention. The thought made Bella's heart ache, and she began to sob quietly. Bella's parents clenched their fists impatiently at the sound of crying, showing not an ounce of compassion. I watched coldly from the sidelines. "Didn't you forbid me from stopping my brother from rescuing Bella? Weren't you the ones who called me a heartless beast and accused me of meddling? What a picture-perfect loving family you are. So you've finally given your precious son what he wanted, and now you're blaming your other daughter for it. Turns out I'm not the only one. Even your beloved children get tiered affection. How ironic. This coldness terrifies me." Bella wept for hours until her tears ran dry, yet received no comfort from her parents. She couldn't stop sobbing. "Don't cry, Bella." Her brother woke up and his first act was to console her. Bella's father and mother anxiously asked how he was doing. "I'm fine, Mom and Dad. Don't blame Bella. It was my own choice to save her." Bella's parents exchanged bewildered glances. I raised an eyebrow, enjoying the drama unfold. Seems Big Brother hasn't realized what losing both arms truly means. "Big Brother, this is all my fault for being so willful." Bella rushed to him in contrition, emboldened by her newfound backing. "Little crybaby. Are you hurt anywhere?" Tyler examined Bella with adoring eyes. Bella shook her head. "TSK, what a heartwarming sibling bond." I watched from the sidelines. They talked late into the night, reluctant to part though school awaited them the next morning. Aware of her parents' growing disdain, Bella bid them a curt goodnight and hurried upstairs. 3. My concern was for Mom and Dad. I had the maid prepare foot baths, soothing them. "Don't overwork yourselves. This too shall pass." My parents nodded and patted my shoulder, saying, "All right, you should get some rest too. The college entrance exams are coming up. Give it your best." They never used to care about my grades before. I glanced toward Bella and Tyler's room. Then again, with both kids being unreliable now, it makes sense they'd change their approach. In the following days, Bella's parents hired a caregiver to look after her brother. After evening study session, Bella and I came to visit. The moment Bella walked in, she started chattering about funny things at school, completely oblivious to her brother's furrowed brows, clenched legs, and pained expression. I could tell he needed to relieve himself, but my brother's pride wouldn't let him show vulnerability in front of Bella, so I kept quiet and watched him hold it in. Bella continued talking about school. "Our graduation ball is in 3 weeks, just when my brother gets discharged. Perfect timing for him to come." As she spoke, her brother suddenly rolled out of bed. Looks like he couldn't hold it any longer. He dashed to the bathroom trying to pull down his pants, but no one was there to help. A steady trickle of urine ran down his pant legs, forming a puddle on the floor. The pungent smell of urine hung in the air. Bella took a step back. Her disgusted gesture stung her brother's heart. With a humiliated grimace, he hurried us along. "It's getting late, you should head back now." Bella was about to explain when her brother cut her off. "By the way, with your college entrance exams coming up, I'm sure you're swamped with revision. Don't visit me this month. I don't want to hold you back. Auntie, please see them out." Tyler made it sound like he was doing us a favor. Then he had the nurse literally shove us out and lock the door. Bella knocked a few times but got no response, so she turned and left. Just as I was about to step away, hearing the angry wails from the hospital room made me chuckle with satisfaction. This seemingly trivial incident created a rift between the siblings. Wait until we're back home at school. Only then would Tyler understand the true meaning of cruelty. 3 weeks later, when the brother returned home from the hospital, the family held a recovery dinner for him. An awkward silence hung over the dinner table as Bella's parents watched their son with pained expressions, carefully avoiding sensitive topics. Oblivious to the tension, Bella kept serving her brother dishes as usual. "Have more ribs, bro, they're good for recovery," she said. She beamed with a smile, as if she'd completely forgotten what happened that day. Brother's face remained expressionless. The nanny tentatively picked up a rib and fed it to him. He ate it. The siblings gave each other an out to save face. "I understand. after all these years, they've built some emotional foundation. Who knows how long that bond will last? I went back to my meal. Seeing the opportunity, Bella seized the moment to invite her brother to tomorrow's high school graduation ceremony. Come on, big bro, the girl you like will be there too. If you don't go, you might never see her again after the college entrance exams. Bella kept pestering him with all sorts of arguments. Finally, she managed to persuade him. I kept silent on the sidelines. If I remember correctly, in her past life Bella attended the prom and came back utterly depressed, eventually breaking down and taking her own life. Now with our roles reversed, I'm genuinely curious how Tyler will react. Before we knew it, the next day arrived and the prom festivities began. This lifetime, Bella's legs remained unbroken, allowing her to shine brilliantly on stage as she'd always dreamed. As the final note faded, thunderous applause erupted from the audience. She came off stage and asked her brother, "How was my performance?" Without answering, her brother turned his gaze back toward the stage. "How dramatic. The next performance features my brother's crush. Please enjoy the duet performance by Class 1 students Claire and Brandon." The moment she heard the names, Bella fell completely silent. Brandon is both my brother's sworn rival and romantic competitor. I turned my head to observe Tyler. His jaw was clenched so tight I could hear his teeth grinding. If it weren't for saving Bella, he should have been the one partnering with the goddess right now. In this moment, he was absolutely filled with regret. Someone nearby gossiped, "I heard Claire and Brandon got together. What a perfect match." The moment my brother heard this, he turned to glare at them with icy eyes. I shook my head, thinking how cruel words could be. Seems my brother lost not just an arm, but also his love. Serves him right, after what he did to me in our past life, breaking my leg with his own hands. I wish he'd drop dead right now. His suffering has only just begun. I began calculating in my mind. Before the performance even ended, my brother insisted on leaving. Bella called out, "Big bro, just wait a bit longer. There's still the mixer later." You know how people at school love to gossip. It might all be rumors. "Why don't you ask Claire yourself?" Her brother wavered again. Bella insisted on dragging her brother to that humiliating scene. Mark my words, after this graduation party, whatever sibling bond they had will be completely shattered. Everyone moved to a new location, for, upon arrival, Bella wheeled her brother over to the goddess before vanishing. I found a quiet corner to keep an eye on my brother. The moment Bella left, my brother approached Claire and got shoved to the ground. Brandon draped his arm around Claire's shoulder and sneered. "What the hell are you doing so close to my girl?" Recognizing his archrival, the brother sprang to his feet, eyes blazing with rage. "You bastard, since when is Claire your girlfriend? She promised we'd be together after the college entrance exams." Without hesitation, Brandon poured his red wine over the brother's head. The wine trickled down his face, soaking his clothes and leaving him utterly humiliated. Brandon sneered, "In your dreams. You lost any chance with Claire the moment that truck crushed your arms. Never thought I'd see the day. Tyler, bet you're fuming. Wanna hit me? Too bad you can't." Brandon taunted, patting his brother's face with his hand. Light touches, heavy humiliation. His brother erupted, hurling every vile insult imaginable. Brandon didn't care and laughed mockingly. "What's the point of just yelling? Fight back if you dare." "Oh wait, you can't. No hands to fight with." After taunting him, he shoved his brother down again. The classmates stared at the brother, whispering among themselves, "That's the former heartthrob. How pitiful without his arms. But why is he asking for trouble like this?" Claire pleaded with her brother. "Tyler, just go home. This is my fault, but you know how it is. With your health condition, my parents would never allow me to marry you." A torrent of pitying, condescending, and cutting remarks poured into her brother's ears like scalding oil. He lay on the ground, scanning the faces of everyone present. Not a single soul stood up to condemn Brandon's outrageous behavior, not even his former ardent admirers. Their change in attitude stemmed solely from him losing both arms, and at this humiliating moment, Bella was nowhere to be found. I shook my head. What a pitiful yet despicable sight. Setting down the glass, I knew it was time for me to step in. The phone's recorded video blared through the speakers. Brandon's arrogant voice echoing across the venue. "Everyone, look this way. Apologize to my brother, or I'm calling the cops." I demanded. "Lunaire, who the hell do you think you are?" Brandon sneered when he recognized me. I didn't even flinch. Disturbing the peace carries a 5 to 10-day detention. The college entrance exam is in 8 days. If you want your parents bailing you out from the station, be my guest. You can apologize to me at the police office. My finger hovered over the emergency call button. Seeing I meant business, Brandon panicked about the consequences. He spat out a grudging, "Fine, sorry," before storming off with Claire. The bystanders began dispersing once the main spectacle left. I wiped the wine off Tyler's head with a tissue just as Bella rushed over. She frantically helped her brother up. Her brother shoved her away violently and snapped, "Get lost." Back home, he locked himself in his room, refusing to eat or drink. The servant went to call him, only to be met with a furious, "Get out, all of you, get out," accompanied by repeated kicks against the door. The terrified servants scurried away. Bella's mother personally carried the meal upstairs. The food was kicked over by her brother, spilling soup all over the floor. Bella's father scolded her brother sternly, "Look at yourself, what kind of state are you in?" Her brother remained silent. His pride had been utterly shattered today. His world must have come crashing down. Bella comforted him, "Brother, no matter how angry you are, take care of yourself, have something to eat. It's my fault today." She stepped forward toward her brother, only to be kicked to the ground. Her brother rasped accusingly, "You heartless brat, if it weren't for you today, I wouldn't have suffered such humiliation." Bella whimpered in pain from the kick. I calmly urged him, "Brother, at least eat something. Mom and Dad love you dearly, unlike me, who had my legs crushed by my parents and was thrown into the mountains to be devoured by wild dogs. What's the use of loving me, without hands? What's the point of living?" My brother shrieked in retort. I told him, "As long as you're alive, there's hope, we can support you at home, unless you'd rather die." Bella's mother scolded me, "Watch your mouth." Bella's father stopped her. My brother shook his head. "Eat if you want to live," I said bluntly. Then called the maid to bring fresh dishes. As I fed him, my brother ate through his tears. "Cry now, there'll be more tears to come," I kept thinking while feeding her. After he finished eating, Bella's parents asked me about what happened today, and I told them everything in detail. Bella got scolded again and even received a few slaps. With her bruised and swollen cheeks, she ran back to her room in tears. 5. From that moment on, the sibling bond was shattered beyond repair. Since that day, Tyler ate and drank normally, but became utterly listless. The room's drawn curtains blocked every ray of sunlight. He never left the house, spending entire days lying in bed. All he did was eat and sleep, living completely out of sync with day and night. Sometimes he couldn't even be bothered to call the servants, relieving himself right on the bed until the pristine sheets were smeared with filth. Even his clothes reeked unbearably. If any servant dared show the slightest expression, whether disgust or otherwise, while cleaning up, he'd immediately shout at them to get out. 18 servants came and went within a single week. The more people Tyler interacted with, the more irritable he became. He dreaded social interactions and avoided going out. He constantly felt those people look down on him. Every look of pity, sympathy, or disgust reminded him of that humiliating night at the graduation party. And with that shame came the inevitable question, who was responsible for his disgrace? If only he hadn't tried to save Bella, if only she hadn't dragged him to that party, none of this would have happened. Resentment gradually festers into hatred. When one pays a steep price for another, they can't help but expect repayment. The beneficiary must grovel with gratitude to fill the giver's void. Yet Bella not only refused, but subjected him to humiliation. Hatred consumed her heart. Her brother would beat Bella mercilessly whenever he laid eyes on her. Bella's parents turned a blind eye to it all. Even the servants, sensing her vulnerability, began to mistreat her. Bella lost her spark, becoming withdrawn and insecure. The little princess had turned into a pitiful shadow of herself. In a daze, she became me. None of this could begin to quell the fury burning in my brother's heart. When his emotions got the better of him, he'd smash everything in sight. The violin he cherished with utmost care returned home, its body crushed underfoot, soundboard shattered, strings snapped, his beloved racket, gut strings severed by servant scissors, handle twisted beyond recognition, gifts from admirers and his goddess, plush toys, love letters, keepsakes, all systematically destroyed beyond repair. He methodically ordered the maid to tear up and burn every single item. Textbooks from his school days, certificates from competitions, all reduced to ashes. The air filled with swirling ashes, an overwhelming sense of euphoria consumed him. His parents watched, slapping their thighs in dismay. I wanted to keep him occupied by having him learn how to manage the company, but my brother retorted, "My hands are useless now. I can't even sign my name, what's the point?" He started destroying the company's documents. It was as if he wanted to completely obliterate his former proud self, severing all ties with who he'd become. Bella's mother watched with aching concern. Bella's father shook his head, sighing over his hopeless son. Bella stayed in her room, avoiding unnecessary trouble. Her brother remained trapped in his own world, wallowing in self-pity and despair. 6. Through all those nights he wept about life's unfairness. I kept smiling while preparing for the college entrance exams and what lay ahead. Bella and I finished our college entrance exams, after moping around for half a month. My brother finally went out with friends. Bella's parents thought he'd come to his senses. To their surprise, their son didn't return home for days. When questioned, he just said everything was fine. The next time they heard about him was a call from the police station. Their son had been detained for drug possession. Bella's parents paid the bail and took their son home, back home. My brother's face was swollen and red, still getting yelled at and beaten by Bella's father. Bella and I sat on the couch. Seeing this, my brother flew into a rage. He kicked Bella hard, screaming, "You ruined my life. How dare you live happily?" Bella fell to the ground, then snapped back to her senses. She lunged at my brother with a flying kick, pinned his legs down, and started pummeling him with both fists. Great kindness begets great resentment. Weeks of oppression shattered Bella. With her neck stiffened, she struck back through tears. "I never asked you to save me. This was all your own doing. None of my damn business. I've had enough. You've been targeting me ever since the amputation, you godforsaken family." Hearing this, Bella's mother slapped her and raged. "See, a child not of your own blood will never be truly close. I knew we shouldn't have raised someone else's child. Now we've nurtured nothing but a viper in our bosom." Bella fired back immediately. "Who needs your support? Since you found out I'm not your biological daughter, why didn't you kick me out right away? The only reason you kept me around is because I'm exceptional. You couldn't stand your own flesh and blood. You calculating old fossil. Don't bother kicking me out. I'm leaving right now." Bella stood up and headed for the door. Bella's father grabbed her angrily, raising his hand to slap her. "Go ahead, hit me. I'll expose the Tyler family scandals immediately," she threatened firmly. Reluctantly releasing her, Bella's father growled, "Get out." "Fine. I'm leaving for good." Bella completely severed ties with the Tyler family and stormed out of the house empty-handed. If Bella's parents hadn't been watching, I would have given her a standing ovation. After all the commotion, Bella left and her brother refused to come down for dinner. The restaurant atmosphere turned awkward. Occasionally, Bella's mother would make deliberate small talk to show concern, and I'd always play along to keep her happy. When Bella's father took business calls, I'd chime in with my perspective too. Just a few exchanges later, Bella's father recognized my business acumen, the first compliment he'd ever given me in this lifetime or the last. "Never realized how sharp you were before. Blood will tell. You've inherited my business acumen, bound for great things." My chopsticks hesitated mid-air as bitter amusement twisted inside me. I was never lacking. The orphanage was cutthroat, yet I consistently ranked top 10 citywide. Returning to the Tylers made me petty and obsequious, just desperate for your affection, overvaluing those gaudy jewels until I became love-starved and insecure, dimming my own light. "It's all right. Never again." I accepted the praise gracefully. "Thank you, Father. I'll keep striving." The dining table's atmosphere lightened as the three ate, while thudding noises echoed from upstairs. My brother's having another episode. He was bashing his head bloody, biting himself until covered in wounds, screaming for someone to give him a fix. Our parents had no choice but to restrain my brother and call a doctor to administer sedatives. After examining him, the doctor prescribed a heavy dose of psychotropic drugs with strict instructions for regular administration. After a few days on the medication, my brother's condition stabilized considerably. The parents finally relaxed. Unexpectedly at 3 a.m., the elder brother jumped from the second floor. The maid got startled and called emergency services. At the hospital, the doctor said the brother had suffered severe head trauma. His mood became increasingly erratic, and he broke one of his legs, even bedridden. He remained restless, screaming about getting high and killing Bella, witnessing their son's deranged state. 7. His parents were utterly heartbroken. Even the most filial child grows weary of tending the long-term sick, and the reverse holds equally true. Blood is thicker than water, but money is thicker than blood. They made the decision to completely cut ties with their elder brother, began grooming me as their successor. He took me through the company's operations, teaching me team management, strategic planning, business expansion, resource allocation, and decision-making, within just 10 days. Everyone saw me as the company's heir apparent. No one mentioned my brother anymore. The day I received the admission letter, my parents threw me a college celebration banquet, inviting guests to formally recognize my new status. They introduced me to various CEOs, helping me establish professional connections. I conversed with them gracefully and confidently. Waves of professional compliments flowed as everyone enjoyed the convivial atmosphere. Dad, I had no idea about my sister's college celebration today. Why wasn't I invited? The brother appeared out of nowhere. News of his injury had been completely suppressed back then. The executives whispered among themselves, eyeing his missing arms and troublemaking demeanor. What are you doing here? Go back. Bella's father frowned and hissed at him under his breath. Be a good boy and go home first. Bella's mother coaxed him. Her brother stood his ground, seeing my parents in an awkward spot. I raised my glass. Thank you for coming to celebrate with us today, brother. This toast is for you. Tyler froze for a split second before forcing down the drink, not wanting to become a laughingstock. The other executives quickly stepped in to smooth things over. The banquet continued under an increasingly awkward atmosphere. Back home, the brother kicked the couch askew and screamed at their parents. What the hell is this? You worthless pieces of shit, now that I'm useless. You're cutting me out of the company. Is that it? He was howling, roaring, and screaming in the living room, cursing his ancestors and relatives through 18 generations. Bella's parents' faces turned stone cold. He's utterly incompetent, unwilling to learn business management, and won't let others take charge either. That's the most absurd logic imaginable. Their eyes met in silent understanding before the others swarmed in, jamming the sedative into my brother's neck and hauling him onto the bed. When the time came, the nurse prepared to administer my brother's medication. I told her to hand me the pills. I'd deliver them myself. The door creaked open to reveal my brother awake, his hollow gaze locking onto me. Feeling smug today, aren't you? I smiled and explained, bro, I'm not trying to compete with you for the company. I'll just go in first to scope things out, then be your assistant and support you at work. My brother looked skeptical. Really? I handed him the medicine and water glass to reinforce his trust. Really? As a woman, how could I possibly challenge a man's position? You just focus on recovering, brother. Show mom and dad your determination to bounce back. 8. That's more like it. My brother obediently took the medicine and swallowed it in one gulp, closing the door. My expression turned icy. I'll take what I want by force if I must. Who says a woman can't hold power, brother? If you dare covet what's soon to be mine, don't blame me for sending you to hell sooner. The next day, I arrived at the restaurant. Bella was performing ballet, spinning and leaping with radiant enthusiasm. Her passion for dance was unmistakable. When her shift ended, I stopped her. Let's talk at the cafe. Bella followed me, sitting while nervously running her fingers along the cup surface, visibly agitated. I said calmly, relax, I'm not here to cause trouble. Just wanted to warn you, my brother's gone berserk at home, swearing he'll kill you. You'd better get as far away as possible. Who knows when he might come looking for revenge? Bella panicked. But how can I run without any money? I pulled out my bank card. Quit your job. Here's $1 million. Go pick a college far away. Bella lowered her head. Why are you helping me? I twirled the car keys in my hand, wondering how to phrase it. Should I say that seeing her being bullied reminded me of my younger self? I wanted to help that helpless version of me. The explanation that finally came out was, the worst you ever did to me was storming out in a huff. I don't really hate you. If anything, that's on our parents. Compared to you, I despise the rest of the Tyler family far more. The conversation ended. When I returned to Bella's workplace and apartment the next day, she was already gone. I put on my sunglasses and moved to the next phase of the plan, took medication for several days, My brother's mental state was spiraling into madness. Images and sounds flooded in. I heard him oscillating between sobs and manic laughter, raving hysterically, "Bella, you ruined me," took my arm, "I'll kill you." He kicked through the bathroom glass, the shattering explosion echoing through the mansion, limping around with his injured leg. He gnashed his teeth with a twisted expression, smearing blood across the sheets and walls. When his parents arrived, he was still muttering and cursing, his voice fluctuating between growls and shouts. "I will be the company's heir. Anyone who stands in my way dies." After tending to his wounds, he pressed close to Bella's parents, sobbing hysterically, "Dad, Mom, I'll recover properly. Just give me the company. You must give me the company, understand?" His final shout made Bella's parents flinch, their shoulders trembling as they placated him. We understand, now get some rest." Tyler went to bed contentedly, still muttering to himself. In the middle of the night, parched from all the talking, he got up for water. Meanwhile, Bella's father was silently cursing him under his breath. "Tyler's gone mad, utterly useless. Handing the company to him would flush my life's work down the drain. And can we even count on him for our retirement? The way he's acting, I'm terrified he might snap one day and kill us both. We should commit him to a psychiatric hospital. Only when he's locked up will I feel safe." The surveillance footage showed my brother eavesdropping on their conversation, then returning to his room without drinking the water. "The storm is coming. I need to prepare for every contingency." For 3 months, I balanced studying with physical training. During downtime, I familiarized myself with the company operations while making steady decisions and executing them consistently. After some time, the market responded enthusiastically. Bella's father supervised with satisfaction and confidently handed the company over to me. They decided to retire abroad for good, never to return. "Be happy over there, Mom and Dad," I said, waving excitedly as I saw them off for the last time, just as I predicted, before Bella's parents could leave the country. They were kidnapped. "If you want your parents to live, hand over the money. I want 100 million, no police, and come alone." My brother's icy threat echoed through the phone. Quite interesting. I played along while secretly hiring a private investigator to gather intel. "I don't have that much, just 5 million. I'll try to scrape together the rest for you. Don't do anything rash, you old bastard. Tell her where the money is." Bella's father trembled unsteadily. "Tell me the safe combination. Bank pins, and where all the assets in this house are stashed. How to access everything. Spit it out." 8. "Got it. I'll deliver it to you in 3 days." Hung up the phone and prepared the cash. 3 days later, I painted my lips crimson red and boarded the ship alone, the sea wind making my trench coat flap violently. Scanned the deck. No surprises. Only 2 men aboard, the boss and his lackey. "Where are Mom and Dad?" My brother grinned and showed me a video. "Those 2 old bastards are long gone. You'll never know a parent's love in this lifetime, already taken care of." "How convenient." I nodded in understanding and said sincerely, "Thank you." My brother sprang up from his chair. "What do you mean by that?" Calm down, let's talk this through. I pulled up a chair and sat down calmly. I never liked our parents anyway. Good riddance that you took care of them. Also, our parents signed the equity transfer agreement, amended the company bylaws, and passed the shareholder resolution. I'm now the chairman of the board." My brother sneered. "So after I cleaned up your mess, you came here just to gloat?" I rapped the table. "Keep listening. That friend of yours was my plant. I switched your psychiatric meds, and those parental conversations. I made sure you overheard them." My brother slammed to his feet, looking ready to strangle me. "You vicious bitch. Why would you do this? Why frame me? You deserve to die." I spread my hands helplessly. "Because in our past life, I saved you, yet you broke both my legs." "What do you mean?" my brother asked warily. "In our past life, I stopped you from saving Bella and lost both arms for it, yet you cursed me for interfering, called me heartless, a cold-blooded beast, said Bella was your most beloved sister, then shattered both my legs. When I begged our parents for help, they too called me a viper, said I wasn't fit to be their daughter. They abandoned me in the mountains where wild dogs tore me apart. So this lifetime, I obeyed you all, stopped being that cold-blooded beast, let events unfold freely. You went mad, our parents died. Truth be told, I'm glad. This is karma. I spat out the word, retribution, with venomous emphasis. My brother crouched down, clutching his head. No way, you're lying, this has to be a trick, he kept muttering to himself. Suddenly he sprang up, his eyes blazing with madness. I'll kill you. If you can respawn, so can I. Fire, Tyler barked orders, but his crew was too busy rubbernecking. Before they could react, I roundhouse kicked his wrist, sending the gun flying, drew my own piece and made my move. Clean and efficient, blood splattered across my face as I curled my lips into a smirk. My brother still tried to knock me down with a headbutt. No hands and you still dare challenge me. I repaid that kick he gave me in our past life with every ounce of strength. Smashing my fist to make his head explode like a melon, he died with his eyes wide open. I chuckled. Remember, villains die from monologuing. Hesitation never made history. Then I opened the hatch and tossed them along with their weapons into the sea. After disembarking, I had someone take care of the loose ends. I liquidated my company's shares, withdrew all the wealth Bella's parents had accumulated over half a lifetime, and flew overseas, stepping out of the airport. I squinted at the blazing sun before slipping on sunglasses and striding forward. Here comes the life of luxury I've been waiting for. Story 2. As the apocalypse approached, my parents, in their effort to protect my sister, pushed me out. I was immediately overwhelmed by a foul stench, followed by zombies tearing me to pieces. Given a second chance at life, I decided to sever all emotional ties, family ties. To hell with them. Unexpectedly, in this apocalypse, I found my biological parents and even became the beloved sibling of my brothers and sisters. 1. The foul smell of blood still lingered in my nose. I moved my limbs and felt much lighter. Was I already dead? That would be better. Being dead meant I wouldn't have to face those things anymore, though it was a pity I didn't die in a more graceful manner. Bella, you lazy girl, what are you slacking off for? A shrill voice pierced the air as I opened my eyes to see my mother standing by the window. Scolding, do you think you're some delicate lady? Get up and wash your sister's clothes. I paused, then let out a bitter laugh. I'm dead and still expected to work. How miserable is that? Since I was already dead, I decided to let everything go, turned over, and ignored my mother. The things that happened just before my death had already made me unwilling to listen to another word from them. Mom, maybe Bella is just a bit tired. Let her rest a bit before she continues. It's her chore anyway. As I lay there with my eyes closed, trying to block out the external noise, another voice spoke. That was Isabel, my sister. I heard that on the day she was born. My father found me in the bushes, and the boy they were expecting turned out to be a girl. They decided I was a bad omen, causing them to lose a son. Thus, I became the least favored member of the family. Isabel was adored by everyone, while I was neglected. Ultimately, when the apocalypse came, they pushed me out the door to protect Isabel, leaving me to the zombies. Wait, hearing that voice, I rolled out of bed, grabbed the mobile phone on the table, and checked the date, December 18th, a full month before the apocalypse. In my previous life, it was also around this time that I got beaten for refusing to wash Isabel's clothes. I clenched the phone tightly, biting my lip to hold back the tears. Since fate gave me a second chance, would not let familial ties bind me, this time, I would survive on my own, ignoring the curses from my parents and Isabel's pretense of kindness. I grabbed the clothes and ran out, too. Since I never had any allowance growing up, I developed a habit of working part-time to earn money. After leaving Isabel's family, I checked my savings, just 10,000 yuan. In the apocalypse, that might only be enough to buy instant noodles. Feeling somewhat deflated, I packed up and returned to school. Even if I were to die, I didn't want to die at Isabel's family's house. At school, I made it a point to remind my roommates to stock up on supplies early, just in case. They laughed at me, saying the winter break was just a few days away, and who would want to stockpile so much at school. Emphasized repeatedly, with the pandemic being severe, it felt wise to stock up a bit more, just to be on the safe side. They rarely saw me so earnest, so they agreed to it. I breathed a sigh of relief. With a month to go, I found a part-time job at a supermarket. Even if a zombie apocalypse were to really happen, the supermarket should be a safe haven for a few days. On my first day, I took inventory of everything in the supermarket, noting which items had longer shelf lives and which were perishable. Unexpectedly, 5 days before what felt like the end of the world, My mom called. Bella, have you been very busy with your studies? Why haven't you been home for so long? Her rare tone of kindness set off alarms in my mind. In my past life, when zombies reached our doorstep, she had been similarly gentle, but in the end, she had pushed me out the door with all her strength. I composed myself and followed her lead in conversation. It's been okay. I just found a part-time job and was thinking of working a few more days before coming home. I knew she would be pleased to hear that. Ever since I finished my college entrance exams, she had been pushing me to take part-time jobs, and she would use the money I earned to buy luxury goods for Isabel. Later on, I wised up and started reporting only half of what I earned. Part-time work is so hard. Come back soon. I've made the food you love, she said, which made me frown. Why is she asking me to come back now? I tactfully refused. The boss won't let me take time off. I'll come back in a few days. I thought she would scold me for not knowing what's good for me, but her tone softened even more. Your sister misses you too. Come back soon. When things don't add up, there's usually something amiss. Even so, I decided to go back once, not for anything else, but because I had something very important at Isabel's family's house that I had to retrieve. When I arrived home, I saw two men and a woman sitting on the couch, all with delicate features and fine demeanors. I paused. Who are these people? Surely they weren't here to sell me again. Right after my exams, my mom had hurried to marry me off to collect a dowry, a plan I had managed to extinguish only by threatening to take my own life. In exchange, I had to work part-time to earn money for the family. The woman on the sofa stood up, walked towards me, and smiled with satisfaction. Indeed, our daughter, look at those eyes, as beautiful as mine. I stepped back, still unclear about what was happening. Seeing my silence, she took off a bracelet from her wrist. Wear this for now. I'll buy you a new one when we get home. The other man on the sofa frowned slightly. Don't scare our sister. Sister, me, what's going on? I couldn't help but ask. My sister explained. That's your eldest and second brother, and I'm your sister. You were kidnapped by human traffickers when you were born, and it took us many years to find you. You must have suffered a lot in the past, but don't worry. Now that we're here, no one can bully you. Isabel looked on jealously, her eyes turning red. My eldest brother stood up and gently patted my shoulder. Let's go home, Mom is waiting for you. I asked, how can you be so sure that I'm your sister? I indeed was adopted, but I never imagined myself lucky enough to suddenly become the daughter of a wealthy family. The other man on the sofa raised an eyebrow. Of course. It's because of your pendant. Well, if it weren't for the fact that I was shooting a film at your school that day, I would still be lost. I followed the voice and saw a familiar face. The popular young actor, Victor, was filming at our school a while ago. I signed up to be an extra to make some money. I glanced at the people standing next to Isabel's family and asked, when are we leaving? Whether or not they are really my relatives doesn't matter anymore. What matters is that I must leave Isabel's family now. My sister suddenly became excited and hugged me tightly. That's my sister, always so straightforward. I went back to my room to take the pendant, without giving another look to Isabel's family. As I stepped out, I saw a stretch Rolls-Royce parked at the doorstep. The neighbors looked on with envy. That girl from Isabel's family is really moving up in the world. I wonder if Timothy and his wife are green with regret now. My eldest brother personally opened the door for me. After I got in, he sat opposite me with my second brother. Bella, this car will be yours from now on. When we get home, see if there's anything missing, and I'll have someone take care of it. My sister also said, yes, I've prepared a huge walk-in closet for you. If you don't like it, I'll design it myself. After all, our Bella is so beautiful. She's a natural model. My second brother didn't want to be outdone. Bella, I've prepared an apartment for you in the city center. I'll take you there when you have time. Feeling their care warmed my heart. I took a deep breath and said, big brother, second brother, sister, I have something to say, and you must believe me. Seeing my second brother's face, it all came back to me. In my previous life, the last news I saw before I died was that the wealthiest Bella's family had been robbed. And none survived. Thinking of this news, I resolved to protect them, even if it was just for their brief warmth to me. Go ahead, whatever you want, your sister will provide. My sister was the first to encourage me, for I took a deep breath, trying to make it sound more believable. In 5 days, a disease will break out in our city. those infected will lose their minds and randomly attack people. My second brother laughed heartily. Little sister, you've been watching too many movies. He won an award for Best Actor for his role in a post-apocalyptic zombie movie. At this moment, hearing what I said, he probably just found it amusing. My big brother also looked at me worriedly. Bella, that only happens in movies, don't be scared. Once you're home, your brother and sister will protect you. Seeing their disbelief, I gave up on further explanations and only said, then please promise me one thing. Big brother, please help me buy a house nearby. It doesn't need to be big, but it must be sturdy, and we need to do it quickly. Also, stock up on food and daily necessities. After I finished, seeing that my big brother still looked skeptical, I turned to my sister for help. My sister held my hand, giving me a slight smile. I believe you. Hearing her say this, my second brother followed suit. Big brother, if little sister wants to buy it, let's buy it for her. It's like playing house. It's not like we can't afford it. After a moment of silence, my big brother nodded. Okay, I breathed a sigh of relief. 5. As soon as I returned to the Bella's family, a woman dressed like a noble lady rushed up to me. Tears fell like beads slipping off a broken string. Serena, Serena, the name I should have had. My sister supported our mother, consoling her softly. Mom, don't scare her. She just got back. I looked at the woman before me, her makeup flawless yet unable to hide the exhaustion on her face. My heart softened, and I called out, Mom. Mom almost couldn't stand crying and repeatedly saying she was sorry for letting others take advantage of the situation. Glancing at the clock, I pursed my lips and said, Mom, we'll move to the suburbs in a few days. Remember to pack. To my surprise, I was serious, and my two brothers exchanged looks but ultimately remained silent. They must have thought I was out of my mind, but it didn't matter, as long as I could protect my family. Even if they called me crazy, having just returned home, Mom was very compliant. Okay. We have a manor in the suburbs. We can move there in a few days if you like. A manor. That was unexpected. With a manor, our chances of survival would be even greater. My second brother exclaimed in surprise. Since when do we have a manor? How come I didn't know? My eldest brother looked at me and smiled slightly. It was a last-minute purchase when Mom and I knew Serena was coming back. We were worried it might be a bit remote, but as long as Serena likes it. My sister eagerly raised her hand, and me, I decorated the inside. My second brother's eyes widened. Well, it seems he was the only one out of the loop. Only he would achieve such a unique milestone. I nodded. Mom, my sister and I have to step out for a bit. We'll spend time with you when we get back. Surviving was now the priority. Old times had to wait. I took my sister out because two women together wouldn't attract much attention. Remembering the robbery that befell Bella's family in a past life, my determination steeled. I would never let history repeat itself. My sister and I headed straight for the biggest supermarket in the city, ordering 300 cases of bottled water, 20 cases of instant noodles, 20 cases of self-heating hot pots, and spicy noodles, and considering they might not be accustomed to these, I also ordered a ton of pork, beef, and lamb, as I ordered the meat. My sister thought for a moment and then phoned someone to convert one of the manor's large bedrooms into a cold storage room. I died rather early in a previous life and didn't know when the zombies would be completely eradicated, so, I also bought flour, rice, seeds, and fertilizer, along with hand warmers. Additionally, I ordered 200 power banks. Electricity was crucial in a post-apocalyptic world. My sister was on the same page, immediately arranging for several large generators. However, these could only be used when it was absolutely safe, as their loud noise could attract zombies. At checkout, the supermarket manager couldn't help but ask, Miss, what are you planning to do with all these supplies? My heart skipped a beat. I had been too focused on stocking up and forgot that being too high profile could be dangerous. If word got out that Bella's family was hoarding supplies, we might face another robbery. As I pondered how to deflect his question, my sister flipped her hair and laughed. Well, it's almost the new year. We're preparing benefits for our employees. That's nice. Being an employee of Bella's family must be wonderful. I turned my head to look at the truckload of supplies, suddenly realizing this excuse might not seem very believable. Given the status of Bella's family, distributing such benefits seemed unusual, so I added, Sister, what kind of branch office do you run? My sister gave me a puzzled look but quickly caught on and responded, "The company is new and not very large yet, and since we don't want to rely on our family, the benefits are limited to what we can afford." Haha, this was said for the supermarket manager to hear. I'm not sure if he believed it, but by the time my sister and I left, our backs were already soaked with cold sweat. Just to be safe, we went to another large hardware store and bought many tools like hoes and picks, which could be used as weapons. These were for protection against zombies, and people too. Back at home, my eldest brother and the second brother had already gone to reinforce the manor. I wasn't sure how much they believed me, but just in case they thought I was just playing around, we would still inevitably face danger. Seeing my worry, my sister reassuringly smiled, called our eldest brother, and told him she had heard from friends abroad that it was wise to fortify the manor in advance. It's always good to be prepared. Her words carried weight, and within a few days, when I visited the manor, it was heavily fortified. Each layer had double-glazed windows that were also privacy-tinted. Fearing that disclosing the address might bring trouble, I specifically instructed the delivery people to unload the goods a kilometer away, and then we transported them back with our own vehicle. It's not that I think ill of others, but having lived through a past life, I no longer dare trust anyone. At the beginning, every day, wealthy businessmen and well-supplied families were robbed. Over time, as people gained experience in dealing with these situations, they started pushing those close to them towards the zombies to distract them and buy themselves a chance to survive. Unfortunately, I was one of those sacrificed. Out of humanitarian concern, I still sent a message to Isabel's family, warning them of a resurgence in the epidemic and advising them to stock up on food just in case. The message went unanswered, and I didn't bother following up. To buy more time, I even enlisted my mother, who had never done manual labor, to help out. Looking at my family around me, I finally felt a bit more at ease. Just then, my eldest brother received a phone call and was about to leave. I grabbed him and said seriously, "Big brother, you can't go out, at least not for an hour." The zombie outbreak was an hour away. I had my siblings and the staff take a holiday for the new year, sending all the workers and security home. My brother paused, then patted my head. "Serena, be good. I need to go to a meeting. I'll be back to spend time with you after." I shook my head, clinging tightly to his sleeve. Seeing this, my mother intervened. "If your sister wants you to stay, stay at home. The company can function without you for a bit, can't it?" My sister also chimed in, "Yes, Serena has finally trusted us. You can't leave." Reluctantly, my brother called to inform his company that he wouldn't be coming. I curled up on the couch, trembling. In 2 minutes, the news of the zombie outbreak would break. Despite all the preparations, I was still overwhelmed by fear. Images from my past life flashed through my mind, and I couldn't help but glance at my family around me. Would they, like Isabel's family, push me out too? My brother was the first to notice my distress, wrapping his arm around my shoulder. "Are you feeling unwell? Let's go to the hospital." I shook my head. My older brother, sister, and mother all gathered around me, each reaching out to touch my forehead. "What's wrong with Serena? You can't just tough it out if you're sick." "Yes, tell us if you're feeling unwell." I shook my head again, trying hard to suppress the trembling of my body. "I don't want to go anywhere. I just need you all to stay with me." My mother, not knowing what had happened, hugged me, trying to offer some warmth. The next second, my brother received a phone call. "Boss, our company suddenly got a lot of..." The voice on the other end spoke hurriedly, then suddenly screamed, "Ah." My brother frowned, repeatedly saying, "Hello," but got no more responses. He stood up, ready to go and check on the situation at the company. I quickly got up and grabbed him, moving so fast, I nearly fell to the ground. An unidentified virus has broken out in the city. Some citizens are infected and mutating, starting to bite passers-by. My second brother read from a news alert on his phone, then suddenly looked up at me. "What Serena said is true. There really are zombies," my second brother said, his hand trembling as he held his phone, almost instinctively. My mother and older brother shielded me behind them. My mother asked quietly, "Serena, how did you know?" I knew what she was thinking. I'm just a regular college student. I couldn't possibly have access to such information, but I really couldn't tell anyone about being reborn under the current circumstances. I didn't want to gamble with it. My older brother gently patted my back and said, If Serena doesn't want to talk about it, let's drop it. What do we need to do now? After the zombie issue proved true, they no longer doubted my words. Naturally, I couldn't betray their trust. First, I got up, drew all the curtains, and tightly closed both doors. Though the glass was privacy secured, some light might still escape. Also, due to the urgency of time, only one more door could be added. It was uncertain if it would hold against a zombie attack. Not wanting to alarm everyone, I tried to sound casual. Maybe it'll all be over by dawn. Everyone should try to get some sleep. The manor was secure for now. My sister also helped to reassure everyone. Yeah, if it weren't for Serena telling us to stock up, we'd be in trouble. Let's all listen to Serena and go to sleep, leading by example. My sister was the first to return to her room. After everyone left, I sat on the couch, constantly checking the information on my phone. The zombie wave was growing more intense, not just here, but in the neighboring 3 or 4 cities as well. On just the first day, violent robberies had already occurred. This strengthened my resolve to stay alert and protect my family. Just then, my phone rang. It was Isabel. She yelled at me excitedly, "Bella, do you know something? Why else would you have Mom stock up?" I moved the phone away from my ear. At this time, she wasn't thinking about how to protect her own life and her family's. Instead, she was scolding me. I couldn't understand her thinking. "I don't know," I denied. "I was just reminding you all." Isabel didn't believe me and yelled, "Where are you now? Where? Send us supplies quickly. Do you hear? If you don't send them, I'll have Mom and Dad kill you. I'll let the whole world know what you are." I frowned and hung up the phone. In a past life, it was Isabel who instigated our parents to drive me out. I just don't have the patience to deal with her. Delivering supplies. How about delivering a slap instead? After hanging up the phone, I was startled by the sight of my sister standing behind the sofa. "Sis, why aren't you sleeping?" After a moment of silence, my sister finally spoke. "Serena, you've been reborn, haven't you?" My heart clenched suddenly. Was I too obvious? I eyed her warily, unsure of how to respond. If I admit I've been reborn, it's not like I know everything about the apocalypse. After all, I died early in my previous life. After a long silence, she pursed her lips and said, "Don't be scared. I've been reborn too." I was stunned. Is rebirth mass-produced these days? She moved closer and whispered, "Actually, the day you mentioned stocking up on supplies, I figured it out. Thankfully, I found you earlier this time around. Before you met a gruesome end." I was at a loss for words. Did they look for me in the previous life too? Wasn't it said that Bella's family was robbed and none survived? She seemed to read my thoughts and continued. "On the day the apocalypse started, we found out where you were, but we quickly got trapped." She explained that our mother was very emotional and insisted on going out to find me, but they hadn't prepared well in their previous life. Their house wasn't sturdy enough, nor did they have sufficient supplies. On the 10th day of the apocalypse, their door was broken down and their belongings were stolen. What the intruders didn't anticipate was the zombies that followed right after. In the end, to protect my sister, our brothers and mother were all killed. In the chaos, with nowhere to hide, she focused on fulfilling our mother and brother's last wishes. That was to bring me back home. My sister stroked my head, her eyes seemingly glistening with tears. "I finally found you using the address I had, only to find your body." Thinking about that scene, I suddenly felt a pang of heartache for my sister, carrying the last wishes of our entire family only to find her sister's dismembered remains. I changed the subject. "What about you? How did you die?" Mentioning this, my usually graceful and dignified sister was visibly angered. Wasn't it because of those 2 despicable people from Isabel's family? I didn't need her to continue. I understood the rest. To divert the zombies' attention, they even pushed out their daughter whom they had raised for 20 years. What more for my sister, the unlucky one? I wondered, since you were reborn, why didn't you stock up on supplies and fortify the house earlier? Weren't you afraid it would be too late? Living another life, one's goals can't just be about finding a sister. This didn't seem like something my wise and intelligent sister would do. She gave me a sidelong glance, dropped the dried fruits she was holding, and motioned for me to follow her. We walked in the dark for a while, then she turned on the lights, and then, I was shocked. Beneath this mansion, she had dug tunnels filled with supplies. The amount was hundreds of times what we had bought that day. With these supplies, surviving 5 or 6 years should be no problem, she said. I had everything prepared when I bought the house, and as for shopping with you, she touched her chin and smiled. First, it never hurts to stock up more, and second, seeing how concerned you are for our family is quite comforting. Gee, that's going too far. I thought I was fully prepared, but it turns out it was just my older siblings teasing me to cheer me up. I asked again, do our oldest and second brothers know about this place, and about your rebirth? My sister shook her head. They don't believe in these things. If I told them, they'd think I had lost my mind. As for this tunnel, they do know about it, she said with a mischievous grin. My excuse was that I was investigating what my little sister likes to do, telling them you enjoy exploring here. My family has always been responsive to my requests. Apart from finding this sister a bit odd, they probably couldn't think of anything else. With a huge weight lifted off my heart, we left the tunnel and decided to go to sleep. But just then, the alarm at the main gate went off. We exchanged a glance, our hearts skipping a beat. Our manor is located on the outskirts of Beijing. Had it been discovered so quickly? Hand in hand, we walked over to the monitor to check the situation outside. Upon seeing it, I frowned. I hadn't expected the crisis to arrive so swiftly. The surveillance footage showed Isabel's family of 3 standing at the door, banging loudly. They were shouting, "Bella, get out here. How dare you hide here by yourself, you heartless thing. All the effort we put into raising you was wasted." Facing the people who had directly caused my and my sister's deaths in a previous life, I grimaced. Their shamelessness was beyond my imagination. The alarm woke up my sleeping mother and 2 brothers, who hurried downstairs and pulled my sister and me back to the living room. My second brother looked anxious. "Is it the zombies? Don't worry, just hide, and I'll protect you." My oldest brother gave him a look, somewhat speechless. "It's not zombies," he pointed at the monitor. "It's Isabel's family. In this life, being guided by my sister, they had found me early and obviously knew about my situation with Isabel's family." At that moment, seeing Isabel's family, my second brother rolled up his sleeves, ready to rush out with a hoe. "They still have the nerve to come after my sister. I'll smash them." My oldest brother held him back, turning up the volume on the monitor. I heard Isabel with her arms crossed, looking impatient as her parents continued their ruckus. "I told you, if you spread the word that Bella's family has a manor here, someone would help us take it over. Why bother?" My face paled. I had never mentioned this to anyone. How did Isabel's family know? And how did they get the exact address? I shivered uncontrollably. My brother stared at me for a few seconds, then seemed to realize something. "Serena, did you bring anything from Isabel's family?" I trembled uncontrollably. "A cell phone and a pendant my mother gave me, that was all. Isabel's family would not have allowed me to take anything else." After hearing this, my brother immediately took my cell phone and started examining it on his computer. My second brother urged, "Found anything yet?" My mother and sister stood by my side, gently patting my shoulder. "Serena's phone has a tracking software installed." It felt like a bolt from the blue. No wonder Harper always knew exactly where I was. Once when I refused to give Isabel money for luxury goods, she tracked me down to my part-time job and made a scene. It ended up costing me my job and a significant amount of money to cover the damages in the store. At the time, I thought I had accidentally revealed my whereabouts. I never imagined they would be so cruel and heartless. My second brother clenched his teeth, punching the table. These scumbags. By now, everyone could guess. Isabel's family had known all along about my travels between the supermarkets and the manor, yet they remained silent. Only when the apocalypse approached did they remember what my location really meant. "If we don't deal with them, I'm afraid they might actually attract zombies and a large crowd." "Big brother, could you help me modify the location on my phone?" I asked, looking towards my brother who was at the computer. From memories of my past life, I knew that not only was my brother the real power behind Bella's family, but he was also a computer genius. Understanding my request, his fingers flew across the keyboard. Soon, Isabel's voice came through the monitor again. "She's located a kilometer away now. She must have run off while we weren't paying attention. Let's hurry and chase after her." Timothy hesitated. "It's so dangerous outside. Maybe we should just figure out a way to break into this mansion instead." "Why abandon a ready-made mansion to chase after Bella? What if we get bitten by zombies? Wouldn't everything be lost?" Isabel glared, raising her voice. "As long as we capture Bella, do you think her family wouldn't let us in, facing their precious daughter? The two didn't have a temper to speak of. They hurriedly got into the car to look for me. Meanwhile, I sat on the sofa, opened a can of cola, and scrolled through the news on my phone. Just then, my phone rang. It was Isabel. Still feigning benevolence in that nauseating way. Bella, where are you right now? It's too dangerous outside. Mom and Dad asked me to call you home. Where are you? I'll come and pick you up. I scoffed coldly, almost believing her if I hadn't heard their plan myself. I gave her an address. I'm on H Lane. There, I had left 50 boxes of instant noodles for them as a repayment for raising me. If they would just back off and return home to take refuge, I would let bygones be bygones, but if they continued to be deluded, then unfortunately, I am not a kind person. If they want my life, they will have to suffer the consequences themselves. On the 10th day of the apocalypse, the whole city lost power. The news online also became slower and slower. From the limited reports, I learned that the situation outside was very grim. Robbery was just the tip of the iceberg. Some people, in order to survive, lured others in front of zombies until they were bitten. I thought that Isabel's family hadn't shown up for so long. They must have gone home to take refuge, but on the 11th day, they appeared again. They reacted quickly, knowing that I had modified the location, and they no longer relied on it. Instead, they just stood at the door, shouting relentlessly, "Bella, come out quickly, or I won't be polite." My brother switched the monitor's view to a place a kilometer away from the mansion. He said gravely, "These zombies might have been drawn here by Isabel's family." In the video, a group of zombies moved chaotically like headless flies. It was strange. They drew the zombies here, yet they remained unharmed. In the footage, Isabel held a speaker and a blood bag, shaking them at the camera. "Bella, do you think you can survive if the zombies come?" Absolutely insane. Standing aside, Harper, although pale, still supported her daughter. "Bella, just let us in. If it weren't for us finding you, would you still be alive today?" I chuckled lightly. It was audacious of her to say such a thing. If they hadn't intentionally hidden my whereabouts, I wouldn't have suffered outside for 20 years. Seeing that there was no response from inside for a long time, Isabel turned on the loudspeaker and pierced the blood bag. I took a deep breath and looked at my family. "Shall we take a gamble?" They nodded. As the zombies moved towards the mansion, I opened the first door. They immediately rushed in, attempting to open the second door. I activated the communication feature of the first door and said, "Only one person can come in, you choose." In my past life, they didn't hesitate to push me out. This time, I wanted to see who would be sacrificed. Isabel loudly declared, "It should be me. Hurry up and open the door." After so many days on the run, she was no longer the pristine little princess she once appeared to be. She knew there were food and electricity inside, so she was determined to get in no matter what. Through the monitor, I clearly saw the disappointment on Isabel's parents' faces. As the zombies drew closer, I spoke again. "Never mind, I've changed my mind. If one of you can lure the zombies away, the other two can come in." The zombies were their problem. Now they had to deal with it themselves. Perfect. Isabel's eyes lingered on her parents. Then she suddenly said, "Mom, Dad, I still have blood bags. If you disguise yourselves as zombies, you'll be safe." She glanced at the monitor and lowered her voice deliberately. "Once I get inside and kill Bella, you can come in." My siblings and I nearly burst out laughing. They probably didn't realize that the monitor's microphone was so sensitive it could hear them as if they were whispering in its ear. Such a clever scheme. My mother shook her head. This girl, both cruel and selfish. It proved that even if they clearly knew what kind of person their daughter was, they were still willing to sacrifice themselves. The couple decided to go out together. Just as they were leaving, Isabel suddenly closed the door. Doing such a thing, she still put on a pitiful face. "I'm sorry, Mom and Dad. It was all Bella's fault. It's all her fault. Blame her if you must." Ridiculous. Did she really see herself as a tragic heroine persecuted by a villain? The couple stood at the door, rummaging through their backpacks, only to find there were no blood bags. The zombies were already upon them, and they trembled in fear. At that moment, I wondered if they regretted sacrificing 2 innocent lives for Isabel in their past life. At the critical moment, I opened the door. They were quick to react, rushing in and closing the door before the zombies could enter. I leaned into the microphone and continued, "Last chance. Choose one to send out. This time, The couple's faces showed struggle. 10. Isabel realized what she had just done and quickly knelt to apologize. Dad, Mom, I was just too scared. I didn't mean to. I pulled up a recording on my phone and played it close to the microphone. Isabel's voice clearly came through. My parents are crazy. Why did they even bring Bella home? They're so stupid. Every time I pretended to be upset, they would beat Bella. Also, that time when Mom was sick and hospitalized, I took the 100,000 yuan. They actually thought it was Bella, idiots. After all, Bella hates them, not me. It's not my turn for revenge. I saw the color drain from Isabel's family's parents' faces. My mother listened to these recordings and hugged me with heartache. I repeated, you have 30 seconds to decide. After 30 seconds, I will immediately open the door. Isabel kept kowtowing, admitting her mistake. Unfortunately, Isabel's family's parents' hearts had completely turned cold, because that 100,000 yuan was Harper's emergency fund. When the money disappeared, she almost died. Now they knew it was their own daughter who did it. It's clear how desperate the situation is. 3. I count down. The two grit their teeth and point at Isabel. She goes out. Isabel looks at them in disbelief. I smile faintly as Isabel's parents open the door and push her out. Through the monitor, I see Isabel attacked and bitten by zombies. Her screams are incessant. Harper's body trembles, and she attempts several times to rush out to save her beloved daughter. In the end, Timothy holds her back. Such a daughter, we might as well not have. We're still young, we can have a son, and that would be someone to take care of us in our old age. I couldn't help it and laughed out loud. Her own daughter had just been pushed out by him, and he's already thinking about having a son. To call him scum would be an understatement. My revenge on Isabel is over. I use a drone to lure the zombies away, then open the first floor gate. The zombies are gone. You can leave now. There are supplies in H lane. Take them and go home. This was my last bit of mercy towards them. They looked reluctantly at the second floor gate but still left. After all, they couldn't get in. I sighed deeply. My revenge on Isabel stemmed from all the misfortune in my life, caused by her manipulations and schemes. And Isabel's parents, it's not that I don't hate them, but I don't want to live the rest of my life burdened by this, so I let them go. Their fate is up to the universe. Day 60 of the apocalypse. After a brief warming, the temperature drops again. Despite the many warming measures in the manor, the heating stops, and everyone shivers from the cold. My sister and I bring out a generator and prepare a hot pot. Our supplies are still very abundant, so we can afford this luxury. As the steam rises, I raise my glass. Mom, big brother, second brother, and sister, thank you. Thank you for supporting all my decisions unconditionally. My sister, slightly drunk, bursts into tears. Thank you all for being alive. Everyone thinks she's scared by the apocalypse, but only she and I know. What we are thankful for is that we avoided the tragedy of our previous lives and protected our family. Although we don't know when the apocalypse will end, as long as we are together, as long as we stand united, that's enough. After my parents died in a car accident, I inherited a fortune worth 200 million, but my husband wanted a divorce. I agreed immediately and set up a time with the bank to transfer the money. My husband looked at me suspiciously. Emma, are you really being this generous? Generous. That day was the third day after a catastrophic blizzard. I was daring to give him the money, but he'd need to be alive to spend it. My parents tragically died in an accident, and before their funeral had even concluded, my husband Arthur had disappeared. 3 days later, Arthur's lawyer appeared with a court summons for a divorce. That's when I learned that over our 5-year marriage, our incompatible personalities became evident, especially during the 2 years Arthur was relocated for work, which somehow counted as evidence of our emotional discord and separation. According to the law, since my parents hadn't left a will while alive, their estate was considered marital property to be divided. Unexpectedly, I wasn't shocked or panicked. I agreed to the divorce and accepted all of Arthur's demands regarding the division of property. That very afternoon, Arthur came to sign the divorce agreement. After signing, he glanced at me. Now that the agreement is signed, when do you plan to handle the property division? I couldn't even pretend anymore. Immediately after signing, he was urging me to transfer the money. I smiled, pulled out my phone, and said, now. I made a hands-free call to the bank manager in front of Arthur, because the transfer amount was huge. The procedure was complex and needed to be scheduled in advance. I tapped on the calendar. I chose a date 8 days later. Our wedding anniversary. Arthur's expression flickered unnaturally when he saw the date I picked. But he quickly switched to a skeptical look. Emma, are you really being this kind? That day was supposed to be the third day after a horrific blizzard apocalypse. The air was so cold it was suffocating, and the heavy snow was swirling around. On that very day, I had been locked out by Arthur and his true love, left to freeze to death. I couldn't move, my limbs lost all sensation, and I literally turned into an ice sculpture. The biting cold wind shattered my body into pieces. I never expected to be reborn before my parents' accident. This time, I made sure my parents made a will and faked my death. Whether the blizzard apocalypse happened or not, Arthur was destined to not get a penny. After Arthur left, I video called my dad. The call connected almost instantly. My mom's worried face appeared on the screen. Emma, how are things with you? When can you come over? Yes, I told my parents everything right after I was reborn. My dad checked the car that was supposed to be in the accident. It had indeed been tampered with. After that, he believed everything I told him. After the accident, I personally sent them to a villa in the mountains that we had purchased in advance, and I meticulously listed everything they needed to prepare, which my parents went to buy. Holding my phone, I walked to the balcony. Everything is going smoothly. I'll just put on a show of moving, and then I'll come over. How are things with you? My mom switched the camera to the rear and panned around the room. I saw that the villa had been completely transformed. Besides the supplies I asked them to stock, reinforcing the doors and windows, and buying heating equipment, my dad had also redesigned the home's electrical, windproof, and drainage systems. He was a designer by profession, and based on just a few descriptions of the snow disaster from me, he had created comprehensive design plans. At that moment, my dad was busy testing the floor heating. Seeing my mom point the camera at him, he straightened up and looked over. Sweetheart, once the floor heating is installed and the blizzard hits, you're not even cold wearing short sleeves inside the house, he said. What else would you like to eat? Just list them, and I'll go buy them for you this afternoon. My nose tingled, and I almost burst into tears. Even though it's been nearly half a month since I was reborn, I still feel a sense of unreality. In my previous life, my parents died suddenly. And before I could recover from the grief, I was betrayed by my husband whom I trusted. Then came the blizzard, the end of days. I didn't last 3 days. When I was reborn, I was still enveloped in the excruciating pain of being frozen to the bone. Choking up, I said, I want to eat the clear soup noodles my mom used to make. On the other end of the video call, my parents' eyes quietly reddened. After moving back home, I saw Arthur sitting on the sofa, enveloped in a gloom. As soon as he saw me, he stood up, burning with anger, and demanded, Emma, where are my parents? Don't fucking tell me you don't know. The last time they were seen was when they came to our house. I was stunned by his question, then I laughed it off in disbelief. Arthur, are you sick? You're asking me because you can't get in touch with your parents. They came over for the new year, brought us pickled vegetables and cured meat, and left after that, with all your capabilities. You found out they came to our house, but couldn't track where they went. Arthur, suppressing his rage, walked over to the fridge to verify my words, then stormed back. Even if what you're saying is true, the fact remains I can't contact my parents, and they went missing before your parents' car accident. Emma, even if their bodies have been cremated, I will hire someone to analyze the blood at the crash site and compare the DNA. If I find out you had anything to do with my parents' death, just wait and see what happens to you. After dropping his harsh words, Arthur stormed out, leaving me trembling until the door clicked shut. Only then did I realize how cold it was. My back was soaked with cold sweat. Arthur, having studied law, was indeed sharp-minded. That day, when Mr. and Mrs. Song came to deliver things, it coincided with the BMW dealership delivering New Year goods to me and promoting their new car. During the conversation, they mentioned the new car my father bought 2 months ago. Mr. Song took a liking to it immediately, praising it while holding the photo. After Mrs. Song went to the bathroom, they said goodbye and left. It was only after everyone had left and I returned to the bedroom that I noticed the spare key to the BMW was missing. Before this, valuable items had frequently gone missing from our house. The first time it happened, I reported it to the police, but it turned out to be Mr. and Mrs. Song, which made it awkward for both families. Later, I just rented a locker outside to store my valuables. I never expected them to steal even the car keys, especially not the car that had been tampered with and hadn't been repaired yet. I hurriedly tried to call to warn them, but neither of them answered their phones. Then the news of the car accident came out. After calming down, I decided to let my parents fake their deaths. Arthur intended to kill my parents but accidentally killed his own. Isn't that poetic justice? Arthur was indeed cautious. That evening, I received messages from several DNA testing agencies. He had commissioned multiple agencies to conduct the tests. Unfortunately for him, all the resources he used were provided by me, and I had already alerted every possible agency he could reach. During our divorce and the division of property, Arthur took our large flat where we lived. I spent 3 days moving out everything I could from the house. I left him only 2 beds. In my previous life, I had accidentally caught him and his mistress naked in bed together, creating a very ugly scene. I've had a shadow over that bed ever since. Only then did I learn that woman was his white moonlight, who he claimed had been dead for 5 years. He concocted this story to create a persona of a devoted, good man, just to win my sympathy. After moving, I sat in the hotel drinking coffee and turned on the surveillance link to my phone. In the footage, Olivia handed Arthur a document. I paused and zoomed in on the surveillance screen. It was a DNA comparison report. After reading it, Arthur furrowed his brows and exclaimed, "How is this possible? Are you sure you didn't make a mistake?" Olivia shook her head. "There's no mistake. The results from 5 different agencies are all the same. The blood at the scene indeed belongs to Emma's parents." "Arthur, have you been too tired lately? Maybe your aunt and uncle just went on a trip and lost their phone. Just wait patiently for a couple more days. They might contact you themselves." As she spoke, Olivia reached out to smooth the frown on Arthur's forehead. Arthur's brow gradually relaxed. He pulled her into his arms and kissed her passionately. Having been reborn after a tragic death, watching this scene didn't upset me. It only made me feel nauseous. Eventually, I couldn't hold it in any longer, put down my phone, and rushed to the toilet, violently sick. When I returned, I unexpectedly saw Arthur's face, enlarged several times, pressed against the camera. I thought to myself, this isn't good, but it was already too late. The next moment, the screen fizzled twice, and the signal was lost. This was not a good sign. I decided to leave that night, but just when I was about to leave, another problem arose. Part of the divorce agreement had not yet been fulfilled. Arthur had applied for a restraining order against me in court. Although the court had not yet approved his application, with a public lawsuit pending, my car couldn't take the highway. I had no choice but to take the back roads. The mountain roads were rugged. It had just snowed a couple of days ago, and the narrow winding roads were icy and difficult to navigate. On the local radio in Q City, 2 weather experts were discussing. One believed that this winter was unusually cold, and the recent snowfall was not normal, not ruling out the possibility of extreme weather. The other thought he was being alarmist. The 2 argued incessantly. Then the radio played a field reporter interviewing citizens. Citizen 1. "There's a smog alert every day in the city. I haven't seen it snow for many years. The only 2 times were artificial snowfalls. I'm really happy about the snow this time. A good snow promises a good harvest. I hope it snows more this year." Citizen 2. "Everyone online is sharing pictures of the snow. It's really delightful. I hope it snows a couple more times this year. The more the better. The more the better. When the snow buries the houses and the world is nothing but white. When the cold wind mixed with snowflakes lashes against the face, causing cheekbones to ache. Then they will know that not everything is better in abundance." Clang. My SUV suddenly stalled. I wanted to get out and check, but the vehicle suddenly began to slide backward at a slow pace. I looked back in horror. This was a mountain road. Directly behind the vehicle was a foggy, bottomless cliff. My heart raced, watching as the vehicle's backward speed increased. Without hesitation, I grabbed my phone, opened the car door, and jumped out. Immediately after, a loud bang sounded in my ears. The SUV broke through the guardrail and fell off the cliff, and my body slammed into the icy cold ground, the shock nearly shattering my organs, my vision swirling. In the throbbing pain, I completely lost consciousness. Boom! I was awakened by the sound of thunder. Before I could even open my eyes, Hail began to pelt down from the sky. Pain covered my body as I looked around, still on the mountain road where the accident occurred. The time was 6:42 a.m., but the sky was as dim as evening. I struggled to stand up, supporting myself with my hands on the ground. I sought refuge under a nearby boulder as hail pelted down around me. I tried to call my dad but couldn't get through no matter what I did. Eventually, there was simply no signal. Once the hail turned lighter, I clutched my phone and started walking. The sky grew darker by the minute. A heavy snowfall began, covering everything in sight. The excruciating pain I felt just before dying in a past life surged from deep within my soul. Making it hard to breathe, I collapsed straight onto the ground, faced with a seemingly endless mountain path. I felt utterly hopeless. Suddenly, an odd mechanical noise shattered the silence. A snowplow, with its hazard lights flashing, appeared before me. Then I heard my dad's joyful shout, "Sweetheart!" Tears welled up in my eyes. I was rescued. I had a rare good night's sleep, waking only as daylight broke. Only upon waking did I learn that my parents, unable to reach me, had become very worried. Fortunately, I had preemptively installed a location tracking app on my phone over concerns for their safety. They found my location. My dad shoveled his way along the road searching for me. He searched all day and all night. I ate the clear soup noodles my mother made. The steam made my eyes redden. The heavy snow didn't last long and soon stopped. Online, everyone was joyfully sharing photos of the snow. However, a few cautious people started urging everyone to stock up on supplies. They were met with tens of thousands of hostile comments online. Some even went as far as to expose the personal details of these cautious individuals. I decided to shut off the page without leaving a comment. Suddenly, my phone vibrated. The bank manager informed me that the procedure was completed ahead of schedule, and I could come over to transfer the funds anytime, and tomorrow would be the first day of the official snowstorm apocalypse. I forwarded the manager's message to Arthur, and sent him a voice message. "Tomorrow at 9 a.m., I'll wait for you for 5 minutes max. If you don't show up, I'm leaving." Arthur replied instantly, "Don't worry, I'll be there before you." I scoffed and left the chat, then called my personal lawyer. I also leaked this matter to the media. The next morning, I was awakened by the vibration of my phone. Ignoring Arthur's messages, I opened the web browser. The headline hashtag "Only Daughter Inherits 200 million After Parents Die in Car Crash. Loving Husband Files for Divorce Demanding a Share of the Inheritance" hashtag was blazing at the top of the trending list. The media exploded. In a video released by the media, Arthur was seen breaking down and smashing a camera in the bank. Smiling, I sent a message to the media group. "Thanks for your hard work. I suggest you sue my ex-husband for damages. Claim as much as you can. I'll cover the legal fees." The message was followed by a string of "thank you boss" emojis. I casually reminded them that the snow was getting heavier and suggested they stock up on supplies. That afternoon, another piece of news surged in popularity, overshadowing the story about me and Arthur. An accident occurred on the Q City Metro line, injuring over 100 people. The cause was slippery tracks due to the snow, causing an emergency brake and a collision with the vehicle ahead. Just like in a past life, this was a sign of the impending apocalypse. The snowstorm apocalypse had truly arrived. While my parents and I were watching a drama series, Olivia sent me a video. I went back to my bedroom before leisurely opening it. In the video, Olivia tricked Arthur into taking off his jacket, claiming she wanted to make a short video, and lured him out of the house. As soon as he stepped out, she locked the door behind him and quickly deleted his fingerprint access. By the time Arthur realized what was happening, it was too late. Arthur banged on the door with his phone, shouting, "Olivia, what are you doing? Are you playing games with me? In this cold weather, you've locked me out. If something happens to me, it's on you. You are legally responsible." Olivia, meanwhile, my phone kept vibrating non-stop. It was from the homeowners group chat I hadn't exited yet. It seems Olivia had blocked Arthur's contact, and in a fit of rage, he lost his usual gentlemanly demeanor and started furiously insulting Olivia in the group chat. He even contacted the property management to get a locksmith. The property management had placed the order, but no locksmith had accepted it yet. Just as expected, the snow kept falling heavier and thicker, and blizzard warnings were being issued across the country. Some regions that reacted quickly had already suspended work and classes. Who would risk their lives for just a few $100? Olivia sent a voice message. Emma, I've done as you said and locked him out. When will you transfer the money to me? 8. Before I died in my previous life, I had thoroughly investigated Olivia. Her family background wasn't great, yet she had a face that could rival a celebrity's. A face that would be a gem on a wealthy heiress, but on her. It wasn't necessarily a good thing. From the beginning of her schooling, she was particularly favored by the men around her. Early relationships, abortions, dropping out, becoming a mistress, anything you could think of, she'd done it, and eventually, for money, she was even prepared to go to any lengths. She initially chose to be with Arthur because he was good at academics and she wanted him to help her with her postgraduate entrance exam for free. Once her exam results were out and her value soared, she broke up with him and went abroad with a second-generation rich kid. Before my parents' funeral, Olivia returned to the country. That's when she reconnected with Arthur. Olivia knew how to keep a man happy, and Arthur felt greatly satisfied with her. Plus, being well-versed in law, he knew he could maximize his benefits by filing for divorce now. That led to what followed, so, this time I went directly to Olivia, promising her a hefty reward to become the knife in my hand. All the previous surveillance and DNA test reports were coordinated inside and out with her help. Without a second thought, I transferred $2 million to Olivia. I sent her the transaction record. Olivia, I'll be a loyal servant to my boss for life. Olivia, try and see if the surveillance footage comes through in a bit. I opened the app, and the surveillance footage from outside the door had just come through. Arthur was no longer there, but he had posted a message in the homeowners group. All the hotels in the city are fully booked. Any kind-hearted neighbor willing to shelter me for a night, one night for $20K, I'll transfer it now. The group was silent as a graveyard, just like in my previous life. After that, we completely lost track of Arthur, but I had specifically stockpiled a room full of supplies in the large flat, including everyday consumables and a lot of vacuum-packed fruits and vegetables. First, they could become supplies for Olivia. Second, if Arthur was still alive, I didn't believe he would give up on this place. I had made this clear to Olivia as well. Olivia didn't care, just asked me, what exactly do you have against Arthur that you want him dead? I didn't respond to her, but my attitude said it all. 9. The blizzard grew fiercer, with the northwestern pastoral areas being the first to be affected. The livestock industry was severely damaged, the grasslands were covered in snow, and many animals suffered from frostbite, with batches dying, and the young unable to survive. Some herders had already committed suicide due to the inability to cope. Transportation in the city was completely paralyzed. Snow had already inundated the first floors of some residential areas. People online were in a state of panic. However, I hadn't expected that the rural mountain areas would present a different scene, half a month after the snow disaster. While the city was already experiencing violent incidents like robbery and murder due to shortages of supplies, a neighborly uncle from the village braved the snow to bring us 3 small winter melons and a small bag of potatoes. Please use this money to take care of my mom and my brother. I'm really scared. I don't think I can escape from him. 11. I was fully awake now, sitting up in bed. What happened? Take it slow and tell me everything. Olivia's voice was shaky and intermittent. Arthur came back with a few people, chopped down the door with an axe. He's lost a lot of weight and has a scar on his face. He looks terrifying. I heard them breaking in, and I hid by the door. When they started searching the house, I ran for my life. Arthur kept chasing me. He won't let me go. The phone in my palm vibrated sharply. Olivia had transferred over $2.7 million to my account. Through my earpiece, Olivia's tearful voice continued, Emma, I've transferred all my savings to you. If something happens to me, please take care of my mom and brother. Please give this money to my mom, she requested. I've been angry at her for most of my life. Let this money be my way of showing filial piety. She cried inconsolably. For someone like Olivia, who cherished money above all else, to willingly part with it must mean she was truly in dire straits. I closed my eyes and instructed. Get yourself to Jianlin village. Take the mountain road. I'll find a way to pick you up. I thought Olivia would be grateful, but instead, she cried even harder. Arthur has been chasing me. I'm afraid I'll lead him to you and put you in danger. My voice was firm and cold. Olivia, as long as you're alive, don't resign yourself to fate. I'm no saint, nor am I particularly kind-hearted. I simply didn't want to owe her anything. In my past life, when Arthur locked me out of the house, Through the door, I heard Olivia chastising him. "Arthur, have some shame. After all, this house is Emma's. It's so cold outside, and she doesn't even have a coat. She could freeze to death. You're ruthless to this extent. Aren't you afraid of divine retribution?" After that, Arthur slapped her hard, silencing her. It was then I realized Olivia truly loved money, but maybe she wasn't all bad. That's why, in this life, I dared to approach her for a collaboration. This time, I considered it repaying my debt to her. The collapse of the power lines was like adding frost to snow. Fortunately, my dad had installed an independent power system in the villa in advance, so we didn't lose electricity. After he and the village committee reported the issue, the committee arranged for someone to collect charging devices from each household every 10 days and bring them to our house for charging. Once charged, they would return them to everyone. 2 days later, Olivia's phone finally turned on. I hurriedly made a video call. When the call connected, it was Arthur's face that appeared. His already lean cheeks were now severely hollowed, and a short, ugly scar ran from his right eye down his cheek. Through the screen, his menacing gaze fixed on me. "Emma, it really is you?" I asked sternly. "Where's Olivia?" The phone camera shifted, and I saw Olivia, pinned under Arthur's foot in the snow. She lay face down, motionless. It was unclear whether she was alive or dead. I burst out angrily. "Arthur, this apocalypse will end one day. Aren't you afraid of going to jail for this?" Arthur scoffed. "Jail? I'd have to survive to see that day." He suddenly lifted his thick clothes, showing the camera a knife wound on his stomach. "Emma, do you know how I got this? The night you had Olivia lock me out, your colleague Andrew let me in. He charged me 20,000 a day, and I stayed 10 days. He took 200,000 from me. When I ran out of money, he tried to kick me out. If I had left, I would have frozen to death. They wanted me dead, so I killed him and his whole family. These scars are from his attacks." I was chilled to the bone, and it took me a moment to recall my colleague Andrew. I cursed. "Wasn't Andrew right to cut you? His son was only 3 years old. It's a pity his knife didn't finish you off," Arthur yelled. "In the end, it's all because of you and that bitch Olivia. You both turned me into this." Really, in my past life, Olivia and I didn't do that, and he was still so despicable. During our conversation, Arthur suddenly lifted his foot from the back of Olivia's neck. Olivia violently arched her back and started coughing intensely. Arthur stared coldly at the screen. "But I've changed my mind. Emma, want to trade for Olivia? What do you have to offer?" I gave him a cold look and hung up the video call. "What does he think he is? You think you can negotiate terms with me?" After hanging up the phone, I went to my bedroom with a grim expression and retrieved my drone from beneath the bed. I released the drone into the air. When Arthur flipped the screen earlier, I had caught a glimpse of the surroundings. It was at the entrance to the village. Sure enough, the drone quickly located Arthur and his group of 4. Arthur was savagely beating Olivia, his face twisted in ferocity. The other 3 were squatting around Olivia, taking advantage of the situation to grope her. To say they were merely taking advantage would be inaccurate, for Olivia did not resist. Instead, she seemed to be enjoying it, even provocatively sowing discord among them and Arthur. I developed all the photos taken by the drone. I had my dad take them to the village committee. After timing everything carefully, I lied to my mom, saying I was going to the village committee to find my dad, and successfully made it outside, although it was snowing heavily. The villagers had been voluntarily clearing the snow from the roads, so it was relatively easy to walk. 20 minutes later, I arrived at the village entrance. Upon seeing me, Arthur immediately stopped beating Olivia and, knife in hand, walked towards me. "Bitch, rushing to your death." However, as he approached, I expressionlessly raised my hand and sprayed the entire contents of my pepper spray into his eyes. "Ah!" Arthur cried out in pain. Clang! The knife fell from his hand. While Arthur was writhing in pain and rubbing his eyes, I kicked his knee fiercely and handcuffed him. The other 3, seeing the commotion, started to approach me, but then, barking erupted from behind me. 3 fierce, large black dogs charged at them, causing them to turn and run, one of them even wetting his pants in fear. Seeing that my dad and the village committee members had already grabbed shovels and farm tools to chase them, I turned my attention back to Arthur. I walked up to him, bent down, and lifted his chin with my hand, then slapped him hard across the face. "Arthur, You always wanted to know where your parents went, right? Let me tell you, those charred bodies in the car accident were your parents. You tampered with my dad's car trying to kill my parents, but ended up killing your own. Does it hurt? There's more pain to come. I slowly stood up, my face cold, and hurled a pregnancy test report and a small box violently at him. This child was found out after your parents' funeral. I told the doctor I had just taken cephalexin and had an abortion that same day. It was too early to tell, it hadn't formed yet, couldn't tell if it was a boy or a girl. This box contains its ashes. Olivia had told me that Arthur wanting a divorce and to split our assets was one reason, but another significant reason was that he wanted children, and I hadn't gotten pregnant in 5 years of marriage. He had secretly gone for tests at the hospital. His fertility was top-notch, so he thought the problem was with me. Arthur was gradually able to open his eyes, red and intense, glared at me. After a long silence, Arthur, with a trembling voice, said, "It's a good thing it's dead. Otherwise, born into these end times, it would just suffer unnecessarily." I couldn't bear to look at him anymore. I helped Olivia and went back home. The village had limited food supplies, so Arthur and his group weren't arrested but were beaten by the villagers and thrown out. 2 of them had their legs bitten so badly by the dogs that the bones were visible. I saw it all through the drone. At first, they supported each other, drinking snow when thirsty, but when they couldn't find food anymore, the 2 injured became a burden. In the end, Arthur and another man killed them. The drone can only fly so far. The last image was of Arthur and his companion fighting over supplies, ending with Arthur being knocked off a cliff. "You think," Olivia asked me from the couch after watching the video, "did Arthur really die?" I shook my head. "I don't know, hopefully." I pondered for a few seconds, then turned to look at Olivia. "What about you? When all this apocalypse is over, what do you plan to do?" Olivia casually opened a bag of chips. "Emma, can I follow you and make money? I'm the kind of person who doesn't have much of a moral compass when it comes to making money. I'd risk even my life. As long as you're willing to use me, I can be anyone you need. And for saving my life, I promise I'll never betray you." I just smiled and didn't say anything. Olivia, sensing the mood, quickly changed the subject. After the blizzard apocalypse continued for half a year, the resources in Jianlin village were exhausted. My father went to the village committee, sincerely apologized, and decided to donate all supplies, retreating together with everyone. 3 months later, the skies cleared, the temperature gradually warmed. I finally dared to believe that the apocalypse was truly over. The reorganized government started a large-scale operation to rescue and repair public facilities, and to eliminate evil. When this news came out on the radio, our whole family was invigorated. I sent all the videos and photos I had taken to the police. The crimes Arthur and those people committed were classified as major criminal incidents. A nationwide manhunt ensued. Alive or dead, they had to be found. As for repairing transportation, the village called for volunteers to clear the snow, and my father was eager to try. The snow kept falling, and there was only one road connecting us to the outside world. We could only organize villagers to clear the snow en masse daily, but with my dad driving the snowplow we had prepared in advance, the efficiency greatly improved. Supplies were delivered faster, benefiting everyone. I was immensely grateful to have been born in our strong country. Meanwhile, I also learned sustainable vegetable growing techniques from experts around the world, using the opportunity of the road clearing. I arranged for a large shipment of hydroponic crops and related books to be delivered. I planned to start growing them in a spare room at home. After several days of continuous work, everything was finally planted. Just as I collapsed exhausted on the couch, my mom came running up in a panic. "Emma, the village committee just called. Your dad is missing." Jianlin village was quite remote, and the electricity and network hadn't been repaired yet, so everyone went out in pairs to clear the snow. And they had to report back by 6 p.m. each day. The previous days, my dad had always returned on time before 6 p.m., but today, it was almost 9 p.m. He and a neighbor who was clearing the road with him hadn't come back yet. Just before 10 p.m., the neighbor returned, saying my dad's car had fallen off the mountain road. My mom fainted upon hearing this. We and some villagers who came to help searched under the snow at the base of the mountain. The heavy snow limited visibility, making it hard to recognize directions. I could only hope that my dad was still conscious and could hear our calls. After searching for half an hour at the base of the mountain, suddenly, there was a sound of something hitting the rocks and a faint response up front. I ran over quickly. My dad was sitting in a large snow pit he had crashed into, unable to move. I ran to him, overjoyed, and hugged him. Just then, a dark figure suddenly dashed past. A villager exclaimed, "It's a wild man." Wild men attack people. Everyone's mood sank considerably. We didn't dare stay long and organized a departure. Aside from a broken leg, my dad was mostly fine. The village also reported the presence of wild men in the mountains. Soon, the police set up controls in the mountains to capture the wild man, but no one expected it would turn out to be Arthur, as I was the one who reported him. I was called to attend the hearing. Arthur had fallen that day, but he managed to climb up using his excellent climbing skills. He had killed his companion. Afterward, he survived by breaking into homes and stealing supplies. After the blizzard ended, he was wanted and had hidden in the mountains. This kind of incident had occurred over 100 times just in Q City. The police used Arthur's case as a typical example. Arthur was sentenced to death, as the involved parties were arrested one by one. The nearly 9-month-long blizzard apocalypse was officially declared over. My company also resumed normal operations. On the first official day back at work, my office door was pushed open. Olivia strutted in. "Boss, where's my desk? I'm reporting for duty today." "Does that count towards my salary?" "Yes."